So hello, welcome back to Stephen's Falls. Today I want to talk about the reason why I nearly didn't buy this car. It's got actually nothing really to do with this particular car itself, but I'm so glad that I did. It's definitely changed my perception of Alfa Romeo as a brand now. If we go back in time, Alfa Romeo haven't really got the best reputation in terms of reliability or ball quality. They do seem to rust quite bad. Generally, these are things that you don't really want with a car, particularly a car you're using quite a bit every day. So Alfa Romeo have always been a slightly niche brand because of this reputation. But is this reputation actually deserved? Well, the one thing I'm going to say right at the beginning of this episode is I've only got this car to go on. I haven't owned many other Alfas. And we'll come on to other people that have owned Alfas and commented on videos as well. We'll go on to that in a little bit. But for my own personal experience, I can only talk about this car and the experience I had this car over the last 4 months. So I went to view this car at the auction and I really wanted something very different. This sort of caught my eye, and the thing that did put me off was because of the badge on the front, and I was just a bit worried if I bought this car it would be an absolute load of trouble. Well, I will hold my hands up and say that I was so wrong about that. This car has been an absolute joy to own. I haven't really had many issues with it. The issues were mainly to do with the body, but that was a big issue, and that's why I got the car quite cheap. You've now seen all the videos now. I did all the wheel arches, and pretty much it was quite scary. And the body shop man sent me a picture of the car, and the doors off, the front bumpers were off, and it's quite scary to see a car like that. But they knew what they were doing, so I left that to professionals, and I've done a fantastic job. That was the big issue. There have been a few other little issues that I've dealt with along the way. The car also came with a clean MOT. Now, if you're not from the UK, MOT is basically an annual roadworthy check that every car between 3 and 40 years old has to have here in the UK. So I believe it did fail on the last MOT, but only because of something to do with the handbrake wasn't latching properly. So that got redone and then it got passed through with no other advisories. So I've done very little to this car. There are a few little niggles on it. It's not perfect, but you've also got to remember that this car is 20 years old next year. It's quite an old car, even though I'd still say 06 plate, 2006 plate, as quite a new car. And I also think the design of this car has aged really well. I think there's a lot newer cars that don't look anywhere near as good as this one, for example. So what are the other little niggly things that I'd wrong with this car? Well, I had a ball mount at the back. That was nice, relatively easy. I had to take the whole light unit out, but that was okay. It wasn't too bad to do. It was actually quite sensible. All the bolts were on the inside, nice and easy to get to, so it actually wasn't too bad of a job. Ideally, I just wanted to do a pop in and out, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. I had to take the actual light unit out on that one. The oil temperature gauge still isn't working. I decided not really to go ahead with that because I don't really use it that much. I don't necessarily need to know what the oil temperature is doing. As long as the water temperature and the fuel gauge work, I'm quite happy. So it's sort of niggly little thing like that. So the other little niggle I got on this car, which I'm tempted to get looked into, but again doesn't overly bother me that much, is the parking sensors. Those cars have rear parking sensors, and they are basically a British lane in the 1970s worker. They decide whether they want to work or not. Sometimes they'll go home early. Exactly the same for this car. It seems to wake up on the morning and decide, oh, is it going to work today, is it not? The odd thing was, the first 3 months of this car, they didn't work, and suddenly they started working. They're very intermittent now, whether they work or not. Sometimes they'll stop working sort of halfway through a drive, and there's a little warning on the dash to tell me that they're working or not working, as the case may be. So I can't really figure out quite what's wrong with it. Obviously a little intermittent issue. If they are working, then I presume that there's nothing necessarily wrong with the system, but obviously there must be something that makes not work all the time. So it doesn't bother me too much because this car is quite a flat back, so I sort of know where the back end is based on where the back window is essentially. Another good point to make about this car is the ball quality. Now the ball quality is really good. I did think it'd be a little bit flimsy, a little bit cheap on the inside. I used to own a Bath and that always felt a little bit cheap, a little bit nasty in parts inside. It used to rattle like crazy, which I think when I started the car it was only 7 years old, and it just went down a slightly uneven road. It was just rattling itself apart. This is the opposite really. This feels as good as one of my Mercedes. It feels so well put together. The interior feels a nice place to be. The plastics are good. The leather feels nice. It's just a nice place to be on the inside. It feels really solid as well. So totally different experience to other Italian cars that are out there. But let's not just take my word for it. There's been quite a few people that have commented on the videos, and quite a few people that I've spoken to at car shows, and even a guy that came round to do trim back the mistletoe tree used to have a 159, and he was singing his praises of it. Everyone I seem to speak to has really positive experiences with Alfas, and actually there's no nightmare stories about the engine going bang or the gearbox going bang or the car just fell apart like some sort of clown car while driving down the road. Everyone that's owned one has said actually how good they are. Majority of people I've spoken to have owned cars of this sort of generation, this era. I obviously can't speak too much of the classic Alfa Romeos, like I can't speak of the new ones either. So I suppose the $1,001 question is, would I buy another Alfa Romeo? And I actually think the answer would be yes. I really enjoyed this car, and I actually really would like to keep this car, but I don't necessarily have a long-term vision for this car, a long-term use for it. So I still think it's going to get sold. I'm going to get it for its next MOT. Now you can MOT cars up to, I think, a month before the actual due date, and you won't lose the date of that MOT. So this one is 6th of June, so I can get it done by the 6th of May or later. So I'm going to try and get in the nice and early and get it booked at a local garage to get it done. Do an MOT, see what happens. Hopefully it'll be a nice clean one or a couple of manual visors maybe. And then I'm probably going to look at selling it. I've already got 2 friends that have already said they're interested in this car, to let them know if I'm going to be selling it. So the one actually did text me this morning, was talking about it a little bit. So I've said, well, give me another month or so, and then we'll see what's happening. So he's definitely interested. I've got another friend as well that's going to have second refusal. I've got first and a second refusal on this car already. So it's not just me that's obviously impressed with this Alfa. There are other people that have listened to what I say. God knows why they do that. But they've listened to me and actually are potentially thinking about owning this car. So it's good that this one might actually go on and I'll still be able to see it on a fairly regular basis. I know it's going to go to a good home and to an enthusiast actually going to enjoy it and actually really appreciate it. Now, in terms of if I were to buy another Alfa, I'm not sure which one I would get. I'd definitely have a Brera, but then I also feel like I've done that. I've ticked that box off. I'd want to do something different now. So I'm not too sure of a model I have. This really was a bit of a stab in the dark for me. I don't know much about Alfas at all. And I'm so glad it turned out to be okay. And actually the car's really nice to drive. It's fantastic to be around. It always puts a smile on my face. So I do think the reputation Alfa has is a little bit unfair, but this is just my case. This is the experience that I've had. I could go out and buy another car and have a completely different experience with it, as a very negative experience, but I'm glad that I bought this car. I'm glad I've had such a fantastic time in it and such a positive experience. I love driving it. As I always mentioned, I'd love to keep this car, but I need to be sensible, Stephen, and I need to put my sensible hat on and actually think of what I'm going to do with this car. I should be able to get my money back on this car. I did buy it quite cheap, but I've had to spend a bit of money actually on the bodywork. And if anyone's done bodywork on cars will know that never comes cheap. Unfortunately, I don't have a spray booth conveniently lying around, so I've had to outsource that to some professional that know what they're doing. Even if I had a spray booth, I probably wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing. So I'll be standing there probably with a brush, painting the car on, painting the paint on the car. So thank you very much for watching. Please let me know your comments below if you've had a positive experience now, or even a negative experience now. I'd love to hear both sides of the story. So it's going to be goodbye from me, goodbye from the Alfa, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.